Today we're working with our friends at Snell Motors in beautiful Mankato, Minnesota.
All right, welcome to our tutorial on the 2020 Buick Enclave, and this is the Avenir trim level. All right, so up here on the Driver's Information Center, you've got an analog RPM, you've got a digital oil pressure gauge, and then you got the driver's information screen, which is all digital. You have a digital voltmeter reader, and then you have engine temp and fuel, both of which are analog gauges. Down below, of course, you've got your gear selector, your compass, cruise control, on or off indicator, and then your miles. Okay, in the middle, that's kind of what we're going to be concentrating on, what's all available on the driver's information screen. So before we get there, let's take a look at the steering wheel controls. So over here on the left, basically all of this right here is cruise control. This is your voice command, and this is your phone on or off. So these two buttons over here change depending on what source you're on for your infotainment. So if you're on, say, your phone and you're streaming Pandora, this will skip tracks, forward or backwards. If you have, you're just on your Apple Music or whatever app you use on your Android, again, this will skip back and forth between songs. This is your volume up and down button. And then these 5 buttons, the 4 arrows plus the check mark, are what controls the driver's information screen. So let's get started. To start with, your left arrow is going to give you all of the general things that you can do, the categories. So if I press left once, you can see that we have got information, audio, navigation, phone, and options. So I'm going to go back to the top, and then I'm going to press the check mark button. Okay, now I have got an up and down arrow and a left right arrow on the screen. So that means I can push any of them and something's going to happen. Okay, I want to stay in this screen, so I'm just going to go up and down. So if I go up, I get tire pressure, remaining oil life, fuel range, instant fuel economy, trip B, trip A, miles per hour, digital miles per hour, and then a blank screen. I like it that Buick throws in a blank screen right before you get back to where you started. So here we got a timer, and then of course air filter life, which is where we started. Now, on any one of these, if I want to change something, I click the right arrow. I can reset trip A if I want by pressing that. I'm going to left click and I'm going to go down to music or audio. Okay, so right now I've got my phone connected via Bluetooth and I'm streaming from Pandora. All right, if I do the right button now, I get radio media, browse Nathan's phone, favorites, and favorite button setting. So if I go to radio media and I press the check mark, now I can say, let's go to FM radio. Okay, now if I use my up-down buttons, I'm scanning. Let's go back again. All right, so that's audio. Let's go down to navigation. This is where your turn-by-turn directions will show up if you have something plotted in the navigation on the screen. Okay? For now, since there's nothing plotted in the map, it just shows us a compass. If I hit the right arrow, I get recents and favorites. So you can store favorites in your car and instantly recall them on the fly right from the steering wheel. Okay? I hit the right arrow to go back. I'm going to hit the right arrow again, go down to phone. Click on the check mark. Okay, obviously I'm on my phone. I can't click up or down, so if I click to the right, recents, contacts, and favorites. So I could press the check mark button and get to any one of those. And that would show up there. If you got an incoming phone call, text messages, it'll also show up there as a notification. All right, now under options is where you're going to have a couple of things here. It's like, for instance, this is where you can change between US and metric. So if I hit the right arrow, I can switch to metric. Press the check mark button, and there I go. Now, I'm going to change it back. So hit the right arrow again, go up to US, and hit the check mark button. All right, if I go down to the next screen, I have a display theme. So if I hit to the right, I got two. I got Sport, which we're currently on, or I can go to Touring. So I'm going to press the check mark, and you get this view. I'm going to go back just so it isn't confusing for you viewers. Like, how did you change that screen, or things look different? Yeah, they look different because it's a it's a whole different screen. So I'm just going to go to my right. Oops. I have to go back to themes here. Here we go. We'll go back to Sport, so we keep it uniform. Okay. Under Options again. All right. This just tells us we got 9 of 13 pages. Okay. So here if you click to the right, here you see the 9 pages. There's speed, trip A, trip B, fuel range, oil life, tire pressure, air filter, fuel economy is not on, timer, speed limit, follow distance, and economy trend are not on, and there's a blank page. This is where you can customize what shows up. So when it says 9 out of 13 pages, that means the 9 things you see check marked are what shows. So let's change them. I want to see fuel economy, so there we go. I also want to see speed limit. I want to see follow distance. I want economy trend. I think we got them all at this point. Now, remember, so this said info pages? So if I go over here and go up, that's the info pages it's talking about. So now I selected a couple of things to add, and I'm going to get those. So here we come. Should be pretty soon here. Here we go. Fuel economy. I added that one. Gives you a nice little graphic. Okay, we had that one before. Speed limit, that wasn't on there before. And so, you know, economy trend, you can configure what shows up under this info tab. And like I told you at the beginning, the info tab is probably the thing you're going to spend the most time on, because then it's just an easy up, down, or click, and you're not doing anything else. That is what's available under the driver's information screen. Okay, so let's move over to the infotainment screen. All right, so on the infotainment screen, you have got an 8-inch screen measured diagonally, and you've got a couple of physical buttons. You first of all, and they really have nothing to do with the infotainment screen, it's just where they're placed. Traction control on or off, your all-wheel drive on or off. Okay, your different modes. So you can have tour, sport, or tow haul. All right, over here you got your hazards, parking sensors on or off, and then your lane keeping assist and lane departure on or off. Down here you've got a few physical buttons. You've got a home button, which brings us to this screen, or that one. You got, of course, a backwards and forwards button that will go between radio stations, XM radio stations, different songs on Pandora, skipping around. You got a volume, and then you have a physical power button. Then you have a physical back button as well. All right, as far as the screen goes, this part underneath this line stays here all the time. It doesn't ever go away. And these would be what we would call shortcuts. And so even though the icon for the phone, say, disappears, you still have it here. And if you just tap it, voila, there it comes up. Okay, and here you got favorites and keypad and recents and contacts and the different phones that are available. All right, so those are all there. You also have a Bluetooth symbol indicator. You have a cell phone signal indicator, like what's your cell phone. If you picked up your cell phone and looked at it, this is what your signal would show on your screen. So it's showing you right up here, and the charge level for your phone. And then this does come in with a 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot, and you can hook up several devices to that if you want it. It's run through AT&T. If you buy the car brand new, I believe you get it for a couple months, and then you have to do your own contract. You get the outdoor temperature. This is the navigation icon, which is grayed out, so because there's no activity. If we actually had maps running, you would see a color on there. Then, of course, you have a clock. All right. I'm going to go to the home button here, and I'm actually going to scroll down. You see these 3 little dots down here? That means there's a total of 3 screens. 1, 2, and 3. In this view right here, you have what's currently playing on your media. So that could be anything, your radio or your phone, whatever's playing, that's what's showing. Then you have your actual phone, like phone call stuff right here. And then navigation shows up in here. So I'm going to swipe over here, and let's check out a few of the common things. First of all, let's check out audio. So here's my sources. Where's my music coming from? And my phone shows right up there. If I want to hit more, then I can see I also, in addition to what I saw, I also have Sirius XM radio. Okay, so that's your sources. Again, forward, backwards, seek backwards, play. You could shuffle. And so these buttons kind of change depending on what app you have running through Bluetooth. Okay? If I click on sound, this is where I can change the bass, the mid-range, and the treble. I can also go to fade and balance, and I can click the arrows to change where I want the music coming from. Or I can just click on the circle and move it around. That's a little harder to do. It's a little easier to use the buttons, but it's nice that it gives you the crosshairs and lines. You can line it up exactly. All right. Now, devices. If you want to see what devices are connected, you again can do it from there. All right. Well, let's go back to home. Let's take a look. We've already looked at phone. Let's take a look at navigation. It's got a very nice navigation screen. Very easy to use, plus and minus, so you can zoom in, zoom out. You can set up your home, set up work if you want, or you can just type in an address. Anything that's under your recents, you've stored under your favorites. If you're looking for fuel or parking, food, coffee, ATMs, transit, dealerships, hotels, leisure, entertainment, shopping, attractions, health, and emergency. So they're all little shortcuts for you that will automatically pop up suggestions for you. Okay, so we're just going to do that. You can also use voice command to set your destination. All right, so let's go back. Let's go over here. You can go into users and you can configure the infotainment screen for up to 3 different people, I think. So it'll bring up your favorites and share your radio station. So, or save your radio station so that when you get in the car, it's your stuff you've programmed and not, your husband's or your mother's or whatever. So you can do that, and everyone has their own individual settings. But under settings is where you're going to have a lot of things. So I'm going to go ahead and click on settings, and you got 3 tabs up here: system, apps, and vehicle. Vehicle is where you're going to have some of your safety system things. So if I go to vehicle and I go to collision detection systems, I have, what kind of alert do I want? I can have beeps or the safety alert seat. Now, the safety, Buick does a really nice job because they actually tell you in writing what this does. So take some time to read it. Basically, the safety alert seat, what happens is it's what we call haptic feedback. And the seat actually vibrates. So if you're sitting or you're driving and someone approaches you from the rear on your right, the right side of your seat will vibrate. If they approach you from the left side will vibrate. All right? So it's really, really neat. It's kind of a weird sensation, but it does definitely grab your attention. It's not like any other ding in the car. So I really like that. Forward collision system. You can have it off, alert only, or alert and brake. I'd suggest you leave it right there. Front pedestrian detection, okay? It will detect if somebody is walking in front of your car. And I believe it's limited to about 50 miles an hour and speeds under that. And then it will actually alert you, and then if you don't brake, it will actually autonomously brake. Now, don't wait for the car to brake for you because that's going to be close. But at least it's there to help you, not just warn you. Lane change alert, and this one you can again just on or off, but it's really kind of interesting that they give you a little graphic here that says these are all on. If I went and I said, okay, I want that one off, okay, you'll now see that one shows it's off. And then to click it on, it doesn't ask you again, it just lets you click it on. I think it wants you to have them on. The rear cross traffic alert, same thing. Okay, now there's a couple of other things you can do in here, and they all work similarly. So if you follow the same procedure, you'll be able to just read it and figure it out. All right, so let's take a look at climate and air quality. So you can set if your auto-cooled seats are on or off, auto-heated seats on or off, auto defog, auto rear defog, and basically you can see that auto rear defog is off. But basically what this does is if you turn all these on and you hop into your car on a winter day in Minnesota when it's, you know, minus 910 degrees and that's warmer than the day before, it will automatically detect that it's cold, and it will turn on the heated seats for you. And when you remote start the car, it will turn on the defoggers for you. So that's a really nice feature. If it's really hot, it'll turn on the air conditioning and the cooled seats. Okay, lighting. Vehicle locator lights. This is what happens when you hit the remote and you try to like see you want to see where your car is in the parking lot and the lights flash. That's what that is. So that's on, and if you want it off, you can do that. Okay, exit lighting. When you get out, there's some of the lights stay on to help you, headlights, that kind of stuff, and you can set them for 30 seconds, 60, or 120 seconds, or off. They don't stay on at all. Let's go back to system for a minute. Okay, you can change the sounds. So maximum startup volume, you can set that. So when the car starts up, if it's too loud, this is where you adjust that. Okay, audible touch feedback. Right now that's off. So if I press the button, you hear a beep, right? After a while, that is kind of annoying. Unless it's not in your hearing range, then it only annoys your passenger. Okay. So we'll go back here. Voice. All right. When you're using the voice activated a voice command button, it'll ask you more or less to confirm things. You can determine that. Prompt length, audio feedback speed, allow prompt interruptions, friendly prompts, that kind of stuff. So in friendly prompts, it'll suggest things to you. If it thinks you're thinking about a navigation, you know, it asks like we did, where would you like to go? I want to go to eat. Hey, we'll name a place around you. It knows where the car is. If you turn some of those friendly prompts off, it doesn't do that. Right? So it's kind of nice. It's kind of like having a little assistant. Okay, last one is if I go to apps, you can see that Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are on there already. Now, to do Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you need to plug into the USB ports that are down here below the climate control buttons. Okay, and if you've never used it before, oh my gosh, are you missing out? What you do is you take your charging cable, plug it into your phone, and then plug it in here. Then you're going to go back to home, and you're going to find either Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, depending on what kind of phone you have. This is for Apple phones, this is for Android phones. And what happens is, now mine's not hooked up because I don't have the cable with me, but if I did, every single app on my phone that's able to display up here would show up automatically. All my music, my Google Maps, Waze, just so many things will show up here, and they show up just like icons. So I can actually use Google Maps off my phone and run it up here on the screen. I can control my phone from here, which is just really nice. So that's awesome. All right, let's go over here. So this actually does have a separate button for rear climate. So when you first press climate, you can just go into the rear one. However, if you know that you want the rear one, you can just click on it and it goes right to it. It's just like the same two different ways to get to the same thing. The cameras on these cars are just incredible. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 views on this car. So here's how this works. I'm gonna make sure I got this right. See the little bent blue line? That shows you if you're using the forward camera or the rear camera. The yellow line just says that's the camera angle that's active. Okay, so now I'm in the front. Okay, and no, I'm not. Yes, I am. This is the front. Now, well, the thing I like about it threw me off for a minute because the guidelines come on. This is my front camera, and I love it that Buick includes guidelines in the front. Okay, if I switch to the rear, so there are swivel guidelines in the rear as well, but you do have to have it in reverse. Whereas in the forward camera, of course, you don't. Now, I just love this. So again, I'm going to switch. This is going to be a little wider view. So I switch to here, front camera, rear camera. Go over here. I'm going to go back to the front camera for a minute. In fact, I'm going to go back to that angle. If I go here, it's going to magnify. See, this is the 360, and now I'm looking at just the hood. So I'm looking more straight down on the hood, more straight down on the rear. Now, the grayed out areas, just so you know, are blind spots to the cameras. They can't see those things. They can see everything around that, but they cannot see inside of there. So just watch that area carefully. Okay, this one gives you kind of a really interesting view. So here it puts an image of the car in its place. Now, this is the first time I've seen this. Okay, so this is like a camera that's hovering in the air above the camera, pointing backwards.
Honey, I Shrunk the Car. Too.
Honey, I Shrunk the Car. So it's giving me a backward view. I know it's that because it's the bottom orange dot. But then over here, it's also giving me, this is where my car is. This is where the neighboring car is. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. Let's flip that around. And now it's giving me the frontward view. So as you can see, one of the things that happens with these cameras, and it's every system, it doesn't matter what it is that the things that are really close get skewed visually. They haven't quite yet figured out how to make that look normal, but it's still fantastic. You can see I have enough space here and I'm not going to hit anything. So if I was backing up, I mean, I could clearly see around me. I just absolutely love that. Now, moving over, I got another one to show you, and this is kind of the same thing we just saw, but it takes out the car in the middle. So here's my front right tire, here's my front left tire. Here's my rear left tire, my rear right tire. So if I'm trying to get close to a curb or I'm looking at something on the side, these are excellent views to have. And then, of course, you have the trailer hitch view. So your hitch would normally stick out right here. Now, I've got this little arrow here, so you can go to the right. I can have the guidelines on, I can have the trailering guidelines on, or I can turn off all the guidelines completely. Then the last thing that I can do, and let's just go back and change the view for a second here. So we're pointing forwards. Okay, if I take this off, I get rid of the 360. And now my screen's a little bigger, but I don't have the 360 down view. So that's what that is. So just a crazy camera system. They're awesome. All right, home key. All right. Well, I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.